Alright, this one, as you can see, is from Gaming Bolt, and they are saying here that they have, well, a good time with the latest DLC for Star Wars Outlaws. We haven't talked about Star Wars Outlaws for a long time. I mean, decent game, but I wasn't that hooked. I played the main storyline. I didn't play any DLCs yet, at least. I forgot my Ubisoft password and I didn't bother getting it, so I can't even log in. But they are saying here that the latest DLC of Pirate's Fortune, which I believe is going to be the final one for this game. I don't think they're going to make more content for it. They say it's a fantastic turnaround, so let's see.
Back in August 2024, we reviewed the base version of Star Wars Outlaws and gave it a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, that's about right. I think I gave it a 7, right?
At the time, we noted that while the game certainly had its strengths, such as its surprisingly impressive and detailed open world, a somewhat decent story that captured the scoundrel fantasy well, and a genuine sense of exploration, it ultimately felt too rough around the edges with several shortcomings. From technical hiccups to inconsistent writing and some outdated design choices.
Oh yeah, but the technical hiccups, I didn't have them on PC, so I guess I was lucky.
Came across as a title that needed another year in the oven. We closed that review by saying we'd probably still play more of it, if only because we're hopeless Star Wars sickos, but weren't convinced we'd have more fun.
I wish we could have more Star Wars games and hopefully quality Star Wars games with actual interesting characters, not this.
Toy lightsaber.
I know we're more into winging.
Okay.
Let's go.
So this is part of the new DLC.
Since then, however, the developers have rolled out several major patches aimed at improving various gameplay mechanics. So the big question now is it finally worth your time? And does the new story expansion, A Pirate's Fortune, build meaningfully on those improvements?
Now, I hope it's not just one small little quest, because Jabba's Gambit, that's what it was. It was just one small little quest, and that's basically it. They need to really expand on the story to make it, worth getting back into the game.
Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room, A Pirate's Fortune. This story expansion is a pretty short adventure, clocking in at around 3 to 4 hours, depending
Oh man, I knew it.
On your skill level. You can actually power through it even faster if you skip all the story cutscenes. Kves, Nyx, and their droid companion ND5 set out to explore the Kepi system, where they team up with none other than the well-known pirate Hondo Onaka.
Wait a second, so we have a new planet? Okay.
In search of a mysterious treasure hidden within the Kepi tomb. As you might expect, Hondo is the star of the show, who is equal parts sarcastic, funny, and dubious.
I like
Voiced by Jim Cummings, his performance gives the DLC its strongest personality.
Oh, it's scrambled.
Jet, my old friend, it has been too long. I know we left things, not so good, but I can't live with the guilt no longer. So I have a peace offering, the great Kepi treasure, the one we chased for cycles. I found it.
The main antagonist is Stinger Tash, leader of the Rokana Raiders, who believes she can uncover the tomb's secrets and lead her crew to the treasure. The story kicks off with an intriguing setup and a genuine sense of mystery, but unfortunately, the ending didn't quite land for me. Without spoiling too much here, the crew's efforts lead to an ending that feels a bit underwhelming, leaving me questioning whether the journey was actually truly worth it.
And that's a really good point, and that's kind of how I feel. There are lots of endings of those quest lines, and even the main quest just feel underwhelming. It's like, you do those quests, and at the end you're like, man, there's no really feeling of big payoff or satisfactory ending. Even the main story, like, man, it's like kind of predictable. It's really bad writing overall.
Still, despite the narrative's lack of impact, Hondo Onaka's presence alone makes the DLC worth seeing through to the end. He carries the entire expansion on his back, and to be frank,
which tells a lot about the character of Kves.
With you, he's the reason I personally stayed invested throughout the DLC's short runtime. Now, just like the base game, A Pirate's Fortune sticks to the same gameplay mechanics, the core ones. If you're expecting brand new systems and mechanics, you might want to lower those expectations. That said, there are still some small additions, like simple environmental traps scattered around environments to keep you on your toes. But
cool.
what really stands out, though, is how much the gameplay has actually improved overall thanks to post-launch patches. Enemy AI, while still occasionally weird, is noticeably better than it was at launch.
I mean, for me on my PC, when I was playing in hard, right? If you play in the hardest difficulties, they're already pretty hard.
Enemies are more aggressive and more likely to suppress you in combat. Sure, there are still rare moments where they'll ignore Kay even if she's right next to them. Yes, they can really honestly be that dumb at times, which is funny, but these are far less frequent now, which is great. Stealth too feels tighter, Kay moves more fluidly, and sneaking past enemies feels more focused. However, this isn't Metal Gear Solid 5, and Kay isn't like Snake by any means, but it's no longer the disappointment it was before. Combat has also benefited greatly from rebalanced damage values, weapons now feeling impactful, and the third-person shooting is actually fun. It does make you wonder why the developers didn't consider a Division 2 style cover system, as that small addition could have made firefights even more dynamic, not to mention attack.
Okay, that looks pretty decent. But I wish that it was in first person, though. It's still a missed opportunity. This would have been so much better in first person.
Add cooler. One small letdown is the complete lack of new gameplay mechanics between Kay and Nyx. In the base game, Nyx can do various actions on behalf of Kay, such as distracting enemies or flipping switches. For a DLC, it would have been nice to see some new interactions, but unfortunately there aren't any. Still, with improved stealth, punchier gunplay, and smarter enemies, the overall experience is finally fun and far less disappointing. Could it have been better? Yeah, absolutely. But is it still underwhelming? Definitely not. A significant portion of the DLC's gameplay now leans into space battles, which will feel familiar to anyone who played the base game. You're still managing your ship's shields, dodging
look at this place. Is that the black hole?
Missiles and taking...
No, that's not a black hole. It looks like a white dwarf.
Down enemy targets using the upgrade system as before, but there is one exciting change thanks to Hondo Onaka. You temporarily pilot a Rokana raider ship, and this is where things actually get interesting. While the core controls remain the same, the battles are now faster paced and feature two different flight modes. In recon mode, your wings can be adjusted for faster travel, while assault mode shifts the wings horizontally and unlocks heavier weaponry, like missiles, for maximum damage output.
Oh, they're not showing the new ship. This is still the stupid Trailblazer that looks like a flying brick.
A lengthy space combat segment in the DLC lets you control this ship in a visually spectacular and large-scale battle, and honestly, it's genuinely amazing here. Switching modes mid-combat while dodging attacks and firing out missiles felt fantastic. Now, it's a shame there weren't more of these sequences, but what's here is definitely satisfying. Star Wars Outlaws, despite a few odd facial animations, was easily one of the best-looking games of 2024, especially if you're playing it on a high...
I don't think the characters made it good looking. The environments, I loved being on Tatooine in Star Wars. I gotta be honest with you, Tatooine is fantastic. It's the best looking Tatooine I've ever seen in the Star Wars game. Now, was it? But it doesn't save it that it was an average. It was an okay game. It wasn't a bad game. It was like average, right? It's an experience. You play it and then you're like, well, I'm not sure I have the motivation to try all those DLCs.
NPC. It was a graphical stunner, no two ways about it. One of the things I truly appreciated about the base game was its gorgeous open world locales and its superb attention to detail. Each map felt brimming with personality, and thanks to excellent art direction, simply riding through these worlds on your speeder was a treat in and of itself.
Yeah, that's
Thankfully,
true.
A Pirate's Fortune continues that visual benchmark. While it doesn't feature new and massive open areas such as the base game, the interior environments and atmospheric design, particularly within the Kepi tomb, look fantastic. From dynamic lighting to various atmospheric effects, the DLC is just as visually impressive and immersive as the base game. As noted in our original review last year, Star Wars Outlaws felt like a game with a lot of potential, but also one that clearly needed more time in the oven, as certain elements just didn't quite come together the way they should have. Fast forward now to 2025, and after numerous patches addressing core gameplay mechanics, I can confidently say that Outlaws has definitely grown into a pretty solid experience. The Pirate's Fortune DLC, while flawed in its storytelling, showcases many of the gameplay improvements the developers had rolled out over the recent months.
Now, I really wonder if you can play this game, this DLC after you finish the main story, or do you have to start all over again?
So, to close off this review, Hondo Onaka steals the spotlight, and the short but exciting showcase with the Rokana Raider ship was a memorable highlight here. Hopefully, the developers can continue to build on these changes and deliver more gameplay refinements in the future. That said, it's hard to ignore the reality that Star Wars Outlaws has underperformed where it matters most: sales figures. If only these improvements had been part of the initial launch, the story of this game might have actually played out very differently.
Well, it was a bit boring, that's the thing. It was just like a lot of Star Wars games. You know, like Star Wars Squadron is super boring as hell. The campaign of Battlefront 2 is boring. The first Battlefront by EA is super boring too. These are boring games. And ever since Disney took over, they haven't made one memorable game. Not one.
It was pretty clear that Star Wars Outlaws was rushed out and the results were in front of us back then. And with that, A Pirate's Fortune may very well be the final outing for Kay Vess and her companion Nyx.
I'm afraid that's right. I don't think they'll be working on it anytime soon.
All that said, I wouldn't be surprised if Star Wars Outlaws eventually earned some sort of cult classic status in the future, an experience that was rejected at launch but gradually embraced through word of mouth. Whether that happens or not remains to be seen, of course, but personally, I'm glad I didn't give up on it after its mixed launch. There's a good game here now, and it deserves to be recognized even if it's a little too late. So, what are your thoughts?
All right, 8. That is generous. I guess I'll try to find my Ubisoft password and give it a try. Anyway, guys, that's all for today. If you've tried it, let me know in the comment section down below. I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.